What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your man Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. 1 second. How did I forget that I had the do-rag on? In rare form, man, you're supposed to be on camera with the do-rag. That's my personal going. But yes, how we doing out there tonight? Of course, it's Men's Mental Health Month, and this is all for the fellas. This is all for the guys. The men need to discuss more things about our mental health. It's been too much targeted, too much uh, wrongful advice, and too many people speaking from other people's opinions versus their own experience. So, the people that I've brought to you thus far and will continue to bring to you are people who I already consider authentic and can give you some gems. I consider them power people. And you will see why furthermore in the live. So, this one, okay, I see we got Instagram acting stupid. Let me see. Yeah, Instagram acting crazy. So anybody coming from Facebook, slide on over to YouTube. You'll be able to comment live. You'll be able to interact with us in real time. Okay. I want Instagram to act right, but it ain't acting right. She ain't acting right. She's so fickle. Anyhow, anyhow, as of right now, I'd like to bring you guys my next guest, Quan. I'm not gonna give his government name. I want to because it's gangster, but I'm not gonna give his government name. He goes by Kwonton. He's you follow him on Instagram at the Kwonton Soup. It's on Facebook. You know what I mean? Just a great guy, man. I'm glad that I came across this guy, and he's so intuitive and is able to be one of those people, one of those men that actually can pinpoint, his own flaw. He's so self-aware, and when it comes to always improving the mind, like that's the key vital component is what did I do? So accountability is his nickname. Without further ado, let me bring to you guys my guest, Mr. Kwonton.
Hello, people.
Yeah,
Trey, thank you so much allowing me to be here on your platform. I appreciate you.
always love, always love. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. We had to get that straight for the people in the background. We had to get that straight. Um, yeah, man. I can't wait for what's about to come. I definitely, and for the people that don't know, this is not like scripted. So as you're getting it live, so am I. So I'm excited about what's to come, and I'm just ready to get into it, man. First and foremost, if y'all have been following this guy's progression, he was also a guest on the FMF podcast, men's podcast that we was on. And at the time, he always had the locks. He had the big lion mane. He's a Leo. You feel me? So I see now you look like Brother Quan. So what
Uh,
what made you cut the dreads, man?
Man, I was coming up on 4 years, I believe, that I was growing my dreads, my locks, and I loved them. I really did, but it really, it stopped being my identity, I suppose,
Mm,
is the best way that I could put it. Um, like you said, people associated me with those locks, and you know I'm in a new era, no cap, you know. So that's what I did. Yeah.
Felt, man. So, uh, when you say you in a new era,
Mm.
what does this era look like for you?
That's a real good question, Trey. I'm going through a transition period right now where I don't have a whole lot of certainty, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get into it more as we talk. But just who I've been the past year, uh, who I've been associated with, those things they're changing,
Mm-hmm.
and with that change, you know, comes growth, and I'm excited about that, you know. So uh, we moving forward, brother.
I know that's right, man. I know that's right. So, I let my guests choose the topic if they have one in mind. There was a plethora of things that we wanted to discuss. As you can see, we kind of chose three things, three areas that we're going to lead into. And Quan, I want to ask you
Mm.
what, what made you decide that this is what needs to be brought to light on men's mental health, the dating, the family dynamics, and the trauma?
Well, coming off what I heard from Sean, the fitness philosopher, shout out to him. Robert Saba Utley, what I heard from
Yes.
him, shout out to him. You know, I feel like I can speak on what they've spoken on previously, you know, a culmination of those things. And even you and Utley, y'all touched on dating a little bit, talking about rites of passage for
Mm-hmm.
men and how it is that they interact with women and the growth that needs to take place uh, going from a boy to a man. And I've had several different relationship dynamics that I could speak to. So, yeah.
Mm. So let's get into it then. Let's speak on it. Uh,
Mm,
big old Leo. He said,
yeah.
"Hey, Quan, where the hoes
Who's that, Keys? Oh, Keys, come on. Don't start that, Keys. Don't start that.
at?"
Funny.
Yeah, funny.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I'm saying. So, again, if y'all coming from Facebook or elsewhere, come on over to YouTube. Y'all can interact with us in real time, just like my guy Keith. Shout out to Keith. I'm also gonna have him up here in the future. You know what I'm saying? So,
Got to.
please
Shout out my brother Keith.
don't. He said I'm gonna be quiet the rest of the live. Please don't.
He ain't gonna be able to.
They ain't gonna be
Not with us
able
on
to. You
here. Ain't no
know
way.
what I'm saying? It's all it's the pride.
Yeah.
It's the pride, bro. But let's do it, man. I want to go into the dating realm
Right.
because I could speak for me. I didn't have much dating
Mm,
experience as far as like trying to get to meet the woman
mm,
and like that dating period up to relationship. I never really had that. I never really focused on that. I always just every interaction I'm trying to get to know you. You know what I'm saying? Whether we call it
right.
a date or not. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, I only coach men when it comes to mindset coaching. And I'm not like, as y'all see, I'm not like outwardly like in your face or forceful. Most of the coaching prospects come from conversation, right?
Right.
So since we can have a conversation and I know something in that area, I can guide you through it. Most of the guys that are willing to even discuss the prospects of mindset coaching are dealing with some type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I want to highlight how important that is and how many guys actually see the importance of relationship. I think relationships are a key component to the human experience. We are meant to be interactive. We are meant to be social. We are meant to be felt and understood as we feel and understand ourselves. You know what I mean? We are
Right.
meant to be seen and acknowledged, boosted up. We're supposed to piggyback off of one another. We're supposed to support one another. We're supposed to talk to one another. We're supposed to build with one another, work with one another. We're supposed to be together, right? And you can sum all of that up with relationships. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what relationship, because that's parent to child, sibling, boy, girl, you know what I'm saying, man, woman, uh, business, co-worker, partnership, all of the above is all ships. It's kinship, friendship,
Right.
relationship, partnership. It's all the ship that we need to be steering in the right direction, right? So can't have community without communication.
Right.
Um, so I find it first of all, I want to applaud the guys because the ones who are willing to talk or get to that point to the where they don't care no more. I'm going to say something. Um, all adhere to some type of relationship, and vice versa. The ones that I don't, you know me, I say stats and not facts. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as the case of successful suicides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men dominate in that area. It's
Mm-hmm.
mostly men who are going through with committing suicide.
Right.
And most of the men who I know and who I talk to who also know another guy who has committed suicide was all, in my experience, has all been due to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the conversation of dating for men has to be had. Has to be had.
Yeah. Absolutely. I remember you was speaking to, I believe it was Sean, and you talked about how being able to have relationships with people, you know, that's a sign of health. You feel me?
Mm,
That's like an indication of your mental health being in the right direction,
mm,
you know? Like, so it's real important that we not only have relationships, but we have meaningful relationships and not just romantic, platonic, familial, working relationships,
right.
um, business relationships, all kinds of things that are asked of men every single day, where you have to interact with others and know how to navigate.
Very well put. Very well put, man. So, God, I wish Instagram would stop playing with me, man. They ain't doing me right. Let me see. Let me try something in the background. Let me try something in the background. While I do that, let me ask you my first question. Um, Many men are taught to man up, just keep it pushing, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Shake it off. How has that mindset affected emotional healing in relationships?
That's a good question, Trey.
Thank you, sir.
When men are asked to suppress, just as you had mentioned, you know, we quickly fill up with that suppression to where it begins to pour over. And once it starts pouring over emotionally, it's difficult to be able to contain that man once again. And some men, once they start to pour over, they just want it to end.
Mm,
They want what it is that they're feeling. They want it over with, and they want it over then. And the rationality, it no longer it no longer exists. You know, the emotion is so overwhelming that talked about the suicide rate in men, 3 out of 4 suicides being men.
yeah.
So when men don't have safe places that they can go to emotionally,
Mm,
it it results in catastrophe. Like
mm.
it doesn't get better if they don't better it. It doesn't
Oh,
happen.
that's a good point.
They continue to move forward as these emotionally broken, battered men, and they don't adjust.
Mm,
You know, if they are somewhat successful, faking it, making it, then why would they think that the emotional piece would ever need to be resolved?
right. No, you're right, bro. So what I look at that is like, okay, that success is still surface level,
Mm-hmm.
and I consider that surface dwelling.
Mm-hmm.
So you're successful on the forefront. You're the image of success, but
Right.
only you know what you're actually dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because no amount of money could, like, I was watching a stand up routine, a comedian doing a stand up earlier today, and he spoke how, like, money can buy you a lot of things, but it can't buy you the core values of life, can't
Mm-hmm.
buy you health, can't buy you respect. That's the main thing he was speaking on. Can't buy you love, can't buy you happiness, can't buy you time. You know what I'm saying? It can't buy you so many things that we talk about that are pivotal to life. So, yes, make your money, get your success, whatever that's deemed. But after you start, and this is what I know, because as of right now, at least in my era, the mantra is make your money, then figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the guys. It's like make your money, then figure it out. Like you don't even need a conscience. Just do whatever is needed to get your money
Right.
up, and then you know what I'm saying, focus on like whatever it is that you might need to focus on. You know, building patience or establishing relationships or you know learning to trust and loving without expectation and you know what I mean just things that we should be instilled with as a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like get away from all of that, make your money, then you know what I'm saying, if you make enough, which is never enough, if you make enough, then you can focus on, you know, what somebody would consider like kumbaya, that space. But I'm like, bro, we don't realize that those are more meaningful. I
Mm-hmm.
understand. Like I never tell my guys not to because it is important. It's detrimental to your survival is to make some money right now. You know what I mean? So I will never tell a guy not to, but I never simply categorize a guy whether or not he's a man by how much money he can make. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that could always you can learn sales, you can learn how to make money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then when we actually learn about it, it's actually more emotional work.
Mm-hmm.
And the more emotionally sound you are, the more willing you are to put yourself out there to do something, to learn something, and gain something from what you do.
Right.
You feel me? So many men are taught to man up and keep it moving, shake it off. How that mindset has affected emotional healing in relationships, it has made us repress it,
Mm.
throw it to the back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To the point where we don't even acknowledge that we're hurting, so we need to
Mm.
heal. Um, I'm trying to find different words because I know a lot of these words are trigger words for guys. As soon as you say hurting, healing, you know what I'm saying, growth, you know what I'm saying, any of these words is a lot of these words are now trigger words for guys. They automatically shut out to
Mm.
just hearing those types of words. So I'm trying to find different wording, but you know me, don't get caught on the wording. Don't get so
Right.
caught on the wording that you miss the word.
What
So
about
yeah.
challenge? Men like challenges, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
stereotype about us. There's nothing more challenging than really growing and growing in all areas, all across the board. You feel me? I believe you and Utley was talking about balance, being
Mm.
balanced, man. That's what it is that we need to be striving for. What it is that we're breeding. Those are our young boys. That's how they should be groomed. They should be balanced. Have opportunity to know both polarities and be brought up recognizing all aspects of being human.
I love that.
And a lot of men, they so concerned about whether they're masculine, they're presenting masculine. Am I masculine enough? And masculine men, the really, really masculine men, they tend to continue to attract other masculine men. That's who it is that want to be around them. Nobody else want to be around them type of men unless they around each other. That's it. And so when you just swinging so far, one way, that's all it is that you're gonna see that way. That's
Hey,
that's all there is to it.
I know exactly what you're saying, bro. I'm like, bro, this don't, y'all starting to sound like y'all need each other.
Exactly, exactly. I'm thinking about the whole idea of the far red pill community. Not the people
Yeah.
who dabble their feet in it. Just try to hear what they say. They ain't never heard that before. You know what I mean? And so they listen to something new. I'm talking about the hardcore ones, the ones that get in the women's comments and just bash them just because like they need each other, or
Right.
it's
And
gonna get to a point where they only have each other. You feel me? They just that's all they relate on is
that's because you can see it ahead. You know, that was the fall of all of the European super societies. That was the fall
mm,
of it. You look at their statues, all of their gods. What do they got? They got the small penises out. They got little guys around their feet. They got little ass cracks out. You got the
that's
pointing. They
real.
doing the super. You know what I'm saying? Super
That's real.
feminine, but you the king. You the super feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like it, if you look at it, history repeats. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how what is it? The patriarchy. That's how that was created.
Mm,
Is through like you so up on a high male ego that only men could understand. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like it's proven, bro. It's history. I
Right.
understand. He said, "Quan, you borderline violating," but you know what I'm saying. If we pay attention, you'll see the trajectory of all of that. But I am going to reword it because I can't say it's the super masculine. Most of them are portraying masculine who are
Right.
actually in their feminine. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
because again, these are trigger words for a lot of people. So I
right.
kind of like dodge them. It's the egotistic, the super macho, the ones who gotta describe.
Machismo. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The ones who
Yeah.
claim themselves as leaders, because leaders are chosen.
Mm.
The ones who claims themselves as leaders and don't really got a following, yeah, I get what you're saying. You feel me?
Right.
But Keith had a comment, says, excuse me, says, one may argue that the things you learn while on that money grind can seep over into aspects of your personal life: patience, discipline, consistency, leading other people, etc. Just my experience. And that's the experience of a lot of us guys. But a lot of those things you've experienced on your own, it doesn't it doesn't look the same or act the same with interaction with others. You understand?
Mm.
So yes, you do. I look at like the same ones. I probably shouldn't shine this light on it, but the same ones that me and Quan have just described usually are the guys who built themselves in the gym, right? Now that you got a physique, now that you got some money, you're getting attraction. So this surface level of attraction, you can have the pick of the litter, right? But
Mm.
none of your relationships last. Why is that? Because those same qualities that you built by yourself that transitions over,
Mm.
if you're not willing to learn from there and continue to build, like you're not gonna have as much patience with, what I'm saying, you're not gonna have as much patience with, someone who disagrees with you. If you had to build you, nobody could tell you otherwise. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I'm not, again, this is not a knock to nothing because I'm in the gym. You feel me? I'm
Mm.
building myself. I learned a lot of these principles, these core foundational pieces, these elements through the same methods. But to get, I've seen the connection, if I may, where like if you had to get it out the mud, or you think you had to get it out the mud and you did everything on your own, you're not as willing now later down the line to actually interact or share what
True.
you built with another person. You know what I'm saying? So relationships become fickle, and then we just got this, certain type of advice. And that's where I come into play. We had these discussions off camera too, Keys, where I'm like, okay, so what has your dating or relationship experience has been like? Because the ones that would look at me and tell me I'm doing it wrong, I'm like, well, I've been with my woman for 17 years. So what's the longest relationship you've had? What's the most successful one? And like shit, like a year or two. Okay, well, maybe I know more in this area. You could tell me, how to do curls and whatnot. You could tell me how to get the physique. You got the success in that area. I won't knock you. You know what I'm saying? I'll listen to you. My hat's off to you. But as far as relationship,
Mm.
it ain't that I'm not open. I'm an open book. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to learn. But it's some things that I know versus, needs to be tested. I've already tested. I've already been through that experience. I've already got that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So the next person that's asking, or we having the conversation around these experiences, and I'm like, I could clearly tell you that's not it. And you like, how you gonna tell me? What you're not realizing, and we'll get back to topic, but what you're not realizing is you feel as though I don't feel what you're feeling. It's emotion, right?
Mm.
So because you feel as though I don't feel you, I don't understand you, either now you don't want to listen or I'm not credible. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
Mm.
okay. But oftentimes you plant that seed and the guys come back. Now we can have a conversation. I see what you meant. I see what you was talking about, or I took your advice. Even after cussing me out, they took the advice. They tried something, got a different result, and they like, yo, maybe it's not all, punch her down, figurative, figuratively. Maybe it's not all like just do what I say. She'll be more willing to comply, more willing to do what you say, and you'll have to say less when you move a certain way. I said a lot, but to sum it up, it's like, yeah, I see a certain type that leads to that. Like I see it like morph. It's the same way we could see,
Yeah.
and it's the same way we could see. Like we see, like it's funny, but I think we all share this experience. You see, like a woman, she's in an Ultima. Said she went from like, oh, she was a sweetheart, and then like, oh, she cut her hair, or she got her hair like blue or green or something. And you like, yo, she's evolving. She's evolving. You know what I'm saying? And now, it's so far so on. I ain't gonna go that round, but
Got you. I wanted to say, I wanted to say that echoing what you were talking about as far as pride, ego, being self-absorbed, it's difficult to empathize with others when you're acting that way. And
Mhm,
you talked about how, understanding is the most essential human need. That's what it is that we all are looking for, So even that person who is self absorbed, not only do they not feel understood, but they also aren't interested in understanding others. And so, how
Message.
could you have relationship with folks if you're not trying to understand them, if you're not trying to empathize, if you're not trying to show that emotion, that loving emotion of empathy? And that's something I personally have had just bouts with, you
mhm,
know, when I was younger, going back to my childhood, I spent a lot, I spent a lot of time alone
yeah.
because I spent a lot of time on punishment. Like I spent a lot of time on punishment, and it was just me in the room having to, figure it out, do what it is that I wanted to do. And growing up, you know, friendships, they were just kind of, take them or leave them for me.
Mhm,
People, they liked me, they wanted to be my friend, but as far as holding on to those relationships or the importance of them, uh, there wasn't a whole lot of people that I felt that way about, you know.
mhm,
And so this you spoke about, self-awareness and things of that sort, understanding who it is that you are, but also, you know when you're in need, emotionally, you got to make some adjustments and, start caring about other people as well. So
He said,
that's what I say.
talking to your sibling in the room, like, what you in for? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That punishment be funny as looking back. It's
Bro,
been some times I was like, yo, I'm really like in trouble.
my mom was the best about putting me on punishment and forgetting that she put me on punishment. You feel
Mm,
me? Like I'm talking weeks and months going by where it's you leave school, you go to your room, you come out for dinner, you go back to your room. You feel me? It was just like I was just in there, just being creative, drawing,
mm-hmm.
rapping. Just trying to figure out what I like to do. So yeah,
Ooh,
shout out to
oh
mom.
man. Shout out to Miles.
Shout out to mom.
Can a man have a healthy relationship without first addressing his relationship with his family?
Can he have a healthy relationship? I think that anything is possible. However, it will be difficult uh, establishing trust by other people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're gonna look at where it is that you come from, and they're going to question if the advice that you give or the leadership that You're trying to portray why it is that you haven't been able to overcome whatever is going on with your bloodline. Why do they not see you as the same leader? Why do they not, you know, empathize with you, understand you, want to empathize with you, understand you, want to be around you? And if you're so much of an asset, why don't they recognize that same value?
Mm. The phrase comes to mind, when women speak, they say, you want to know how a man treats a woman, watch how he treats his mom.
That's
And
true.
I just thought about that when it comes to this. Keith said nobody can have a healthy relationship if they first don't, take the accountability and heal in the relationship with their family without first addressing their relationship with their family. Hold on. It's gonna
You
get
can't
deep.
limit men. There ain't nothing we can't do.
You silly. Look at quiet, bro. He's evolving. And then Super Saiyan too. So, that's dope. That's deep, and it makes me think because I had basically just half of my family, but I really leaned into you know the family that was present, and I'm still working on healing
Yeah.
my other side. My relationship. Well, I can't even consider it a relationship, but I guess my kinship with my father, my
Mm.
biological father. And I really realized that question alone just made me put in perspective how much I focused on my mother and my mother's side of the family.
Mm.
And I think that is true. I didn't have much or many relationships until I solidified some things about myself
Right.
that had to be addressed with my family. I had to
Right.
set I had to set some boundaries.
Right.
I had to I tested myself as a man, developing into a man. I'm a young man, a teenager. Um, I'm just looking. I'm like seeing like glimpses of my upbringing. I was seeing when
Mm.
I was like 16, like 14 to 16. I went to anger management like 4 times, court mandated anger management. The only thing I ever like got in cuffs for was fighting. So like, why am I? It was a point where I asked myself that the anger management classes didn't work. It wasn't for me. It actually became a pissing contest, a competition between the guys in there who was the most angry. You know what I'm saying? Like ready to
That's
flip
men for
these
you.
chairs. That's been
Competitive.
for you.
Yeah.
Was ready to flip these chairs and everything,
Yeah.
just to prove I was the most hurt, basically. And so after like the fourth time, I was like, I just don't want to come back here. You know what I'm saying? So it made me look at myself, and like the source of the anger was the environment. Well, the main environment is at home. So what's happening here? I had to address that. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn to ignore some things, space myself away, separate myself, distance myself from things that weren't in alignment with me at that time.
Right.
And from there, I was like, I was, I considered myself bashful. I don't think I was really bashful. I just wasn't beating my chest. But
Mm-hmm.
I considered myself bashful. So I was quiet a lot, you know what I'm saying? So once I actually started speaking and I got response, I spoke more and more. um, and started gaining a little popularity, and then like entered the dating scene, if you will, trying my hand at least. But it wasn't until I addressed the family stuff, the family front, and solidify some things about myself that I can actually
Right.
into that pool. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
I think that's really great that in real time, you started visualizing and thinking about, you know, just your own family and in accordance to the question. I think that that's dope. It's got me sitting here thinking about mine. And when I was with Utley, when I
Yeah.
did his podcast, shout out again to Robert Utley, the Robert Utley Show, True Show. Uh, Shout out to him.
Yeah.
We did an episode about generational curses,
Mm,
and to this day, there's still some things within my family that I'm trying to understand. Why is it like this, and where do we make the turn? You know, a lot of times I wanted to, say or felt as though it's going to start with me, like I'm going to be the one who's going to have to bring the family this, that, and the other. And in all actuality, I don't even know what my family's hopes are
mm,
outside of career choices or what it is that we want to be when we grow up. How many of us know what it is that our loved ones hope for
mm,
without assuming, but actually want to know if they could? And shout out to Sean, where he was talking about, you know, it's when we recognize that we are 100% in control of our lives and we have the power to change it and do what we need to in order to have whatever it is that we want. Who told your family that? Was
mm.
it you? And do they believe it when it comes from you? And is it shown in your own life? We talking about men, we're talking about leaders who are chosen. We got to make sure that we asking the right questions,
Mm.
so we can't instill hope in people when we don't even know what it is that they desire, what their desires are. I think that that's important. I'm recognizing the importance of that when I talk about, the concept of generational curses or what it is that I see to be generational curses. Maybe it is the way that it is because they want it that way. You feel me?
Right.
Maybe I want better for them than what it is that they have. You feel me? Maybe they look at me and they want better for me than what I have, and think I'm doing all right. You feel me? Like some
Yeah.
conversations need to take place, and we need to designate our destination. Do we
Yes.
want to go the same place? And man,
Yikes.
I just it breaks my heart sometimes just because
Your heart is in it.
being where we are, the way that society is, like we couldn't have foreseen that it would be this way. Like just the aspect of survival. Some people, that's all they wake up for, bro. They just trying to survive. They don't have
That's that.
no more hopes, no more dreams. They just trying to make it to the next day so that their relatives see them again.
Mm.
So
Powerful.
yeah,
But ain't nobody ever really said that like out loud, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like some people literally are just surviving. I know people who did not, their faith might not be as strong on the forefront, but they know one of the core fundamentals is if you commit suicide, you're going to hell. You know
Mm,
what I mean? So they believe that their relatives, their loved ones are in heaven. I got to be with these people again.
right,
That's
right.
like the only string
Mm,
that they're holding on to. That's the thread that's binding them to continuance.
that's so
You know
real.
what I mean?
That's so real.
And it just adheres to your point. Like some people really are just like day by day out here. You can't. I don't knock it. I don't go against it.
Mm,
I know a few people. I've been there, but with my passion of life itself, I can't stay there. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Not saying that, ultimately those people ultimately, yes, there's always a choice, right? But if you are that down internally, then yeah, you're not gonna see the option. You're just feeling what you're feeling, and it's heavy. So you like, yo,
right,
this is it. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, bro, that's a real question as well. Where you said like we gotta at least set the designation because the older I've gotten, the more honesty I've gotten from my loved ones, and separation kills me. You know, the separation leads to the silence leads to separation. The separation leads to assumption. There's nothing solid. You know what I'm saying? When I
right,
talk to all of the family that we used to gather, we used to be able to get together, we used to hang out, we used to party, we used to be unified. Just the family. We ain't talking
right,
about all our people. We talking about the family. We used to be able to come to each other's places and we shared resources. It wasn't an issue. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Now you talk to these people, I talk to these people separately, and each one of them have like an imaginary issue with each other. And if you talk to each one of them, they like, that's not my problem. I ain't. That's not what I'm upset about. And it's
right.
like, well, shit. Why don't y'all tell each other? Like, cause
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, or fight shit. We used to be able to just not, hey, duke it out, dap it up. Like,
right.
get this off your chest real quick. And you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna eat we're gonna eat after. You know what I'm saying?
I think about what it is that you said. I never heard anybody say this before. Uh, when you talk about how unnatural being impoverished is,
Ooh,
and
come on.
just what it is that causes people to do. You know, when we talk about survival and just talk about like mental health, um, it's tough, man, because poverty is got so many different looks. You
Correct.
know, like it's you can't really pinpoint it like you would think. You know, they
Right.
talk about how the middle class is disappearing. You feel me? You either rich or poor now. You feel me? You lower class or you upper class. You know, and sometimes I just wonder, is it's like what would be enough? You feel me? What sum of money would be enough in order to plant the seed in my family's mind to where the next generation is better set up for success, you know? And
Mm,
it's just getting by, you know, like those just bad habits that were passed down and continue to be passed down. You know,
mm.
like, oh, I went here to get this loan. Once you 18, you can get the same loan. You know, this, you feel me? Like, just we. I mean, and shout out to Keith because he's he knows finance really well. You know, shout out to my brother Paul, of course,
Big
always
East, Big
as
Ball,
far
yes,
as
sir.
finance is concerned. But I think that really is that's where hope starts. I believe teaching people about abundance and getting them away from a mindset of lack.
Mm,
Cause personally, I feel as though, you know, seeing my mom bring me and my sister up the way that she did, you know, she was so happy to tell us that we got just enough to get by. You know, like that was it. And she programmed that. You feel me? Me to this day, as a grown person, you feel I catch myself saying, looking at the paycheck, oh, bills paid, you feel me? I
mm.
got just enough in the checking account, be able to, you know what I mean? It's like we gotta want more, and we gotta believe that we can have more, and
Ooh,
then we gotta do more.
that
So
part.
yeah.
What I want to bring to light is you gonna stop shitting on good times. That was some real times. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop saying that. But what I want to bring to light is it's also just I mean, I think all of us just right here, all of us guys that I know are viewing right now have sort of took on this role where I'm gonna be the one to put the family in good standing.
Right, right,
Understand the massiveness of that responsibility and that burden that
right.
nobody actually told you to carry by yourself.
Mm, that's real.
But that's what I know. I do it. I do it, and I'm not gonna like shirk away from it because, like
Right,
you said, the more you think, the more you see, the more. What I truly believe is if it was placed in your vision,
mm,
right, then
right,
there was something. It was a reason. If everything happens for a reason, there's no such thing as a coincidence.
right,
So, and us as men, problem solvers, if we see this as an issue, we want to resolve it,
right.
right? And
Good
like,
point.
I like your question, how you said, like, well, have we ever actually set the designation? Have we ever actually asked our loved ones what it is that they hope for, what it is that they want, what it is that life looks like for them successfully? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
they could be, not every, and that's what I love about learning about life. Not everybody wants the same thing.
right,
There are millionaires who have apartments. You know what I'm saying? They're in an apartment, and it's like I just didn't want the responsibility of yard work, and you know what I'm saying.
right,
So
right,
you don't have to have a house to be considered successful. You know what I
right,
mean? Stuff like that. So, but when I think about it, I'm like, I got to get my mom her own crib. She
mm,
says she told me like 10 years ago. She just mentioned one night that she would like to have a Range Rover. I'm like, okay, Range Rover, got it. That's what I'm working towards for her. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, well, I got my own goals. Then I got my wife and my family goals. You
right,
know, and then it's like, so I'm working on like when you spread that far across. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And then I just pay attention. Really, like shout out to comedy, shout out to the stand-up comedians that have been doing a great job. I think that's one of the threads that kept us together as society from 2020 on up. It's being able to laugh at it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Uh, there's power in the laugh. But I watched a comedian who said, like, I am the only millionaire in my family, like
Mm,
multi-millionaire now. Like
right,
nobody pulls out money for anything. I handle everything for the whole family, like mom's side, dad's side.
But
him.
how could that be? How could that be that there ain't nobody else that you could teach how to fish? That's what it is. That's that's where I think my role comes in. I'm supposed to figure it out, and then I'm supposed to be able to discern who else it is that I can teach this to, and we going from there. You feel me? We going
Hmm.
up.
Hmm.
Whatever the path is that gets me to my success, I can instill that into somebody else, and we can photocopy.
Oh no! Come on, bro. Yeah. So he lost his connection. When he chimes back in, we'll be good to go. Um, but while we're waiting, if I may, Keys, I want to bring this to light. Said one of my homies committed suicide in 2020. I still have not forgiven him for it because the last time I saw him, he didn't want to talk about shit. And those that are at that level, right? They know, they know that you're gonna talk them off the edge. They know that out of love, your contribution. Suicide is it's a scary thing, man, because it ain't that they don't have loved ones, but you ever seen like a quote where it's like you could be in a room full of people and still be lonely. You know what I'm saying? You could be getting love and acknowledgement, but still don't accept it. So, and I got to see if I can get this guy on. I got to get him on the live. Mr. Jason Wilson, this book, Battle Cry, Waging and Winning the War Within. I gotta bruh, get that book. It is selfish. It is selfish. Suicide is a selfish act. It is selfish. Um, but I say get this book. He has a chapter in this book. Let me see. There's my guy, ready to jump back in. He has a chapter in this book that, let me see, right there. It's chapter 9, accepting affirmation. We oftentimes, as men, we have people in our lives who affirm us, who can confirm in our capabilities, who sees us, acknowledges us, and brings us up to the light. You know what I'm saying? We have those people in our lives. And I truly believe that every guy has somebody there. If you know me, then I'm one. I've definitely done bigged you up. You know what I'm saying? Because I communicate. I let you know. I let you know when you winning or you doing good or it ain't that bad or what I'm saying, I'm here or whatever. Whatever it is, our one-on-one conversations, I let you know what I'm saying, even if it's just in passing. But if we cannot see ourselves, if we cannot accept ourselves, we talk about that competition, right? And we talked about that burden. Let me bring my guy in while I finish this. We talked about that competition. We talked about that burden, that carrying, right? Our goals continue to expand. The purpose narrows, but the goals expand. So if we look at ourselves, and I've been one who was like, it's never enough. Like I just did the utmost. I've been up for 22 hours working nonstop in all areas. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had those types of days where like my vision blurred, I'm blacking out because I just kept going. And my wife, shout out to her, she's like, why can't you just like rest? And it's like because there's never, for me, I'm not there yet. I haven't put myself in a position to be able to give moms a house, right? I haven't gotten to those destinations yet. So it's never enough. I always got to keep on going. Therefore, when you get in that realm, when you get in that mentality that I know guys we get into, because the role of providing is super vague. It covers everything, right?
Mm,
So when we get into this realm, this mindset where it's never enough, I'm never done, there's always more work, it is. But that could also lead to self neglect, which turns into self sabotage
right.
that I know all too well. You feel
Right.
me?
Me too, brother. Yeah.
So when it comes to a person who like they just didn't want to talk no more, they pretty much done already made their decision and don't want nobody to debate them on what they decided. You know what I mean? And that happens all across the board. Like just trying to hold on or try to fight for relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we could just talk, bro. Like I had so many guys, my brothers. I love them, and I'm like, bro, all we got to do is talk. Just say what's up, and you decided that you're not gonna talk anymore. You just confirmed that we don't understand each other, so we no longer need to be friends.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like we not guys no more. That bridge was never burnt for me, but you damn sure walk the other side with your back turned, and I feel that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's
A lot
like,
of
bro,
times,
like
Trey, that self sabotage it turns to shame, bro.
yes,
You know,
yes,
all that uh, isolating or self
mm,
neglect that is that people experience. It turns to shame, and you don't want to face others. You don't want to tell people like, "Hey, I'm I'm going through something, man,
mm,
and I don't know. I don't. This is how I'm getting through my days. You know, it may not be what I'm supposed to be doing, but this is this is what I'm chasing right now. And man, just as I get older, I loved what it was that Sean was talking about as far as being intentional,
mm,
brother. Intentionality will save your life. You
mm.
gotta be intentional about choosing to stay alive.
Mm.
Real talk.
Make that choice.
You gotta choose. Yeah, you gotta choose to stay alive. And so when you're intentional, then you don't necessarily have to worry about seeking pleasure. That's not what your whole life is about. And when your life is all about seeking pleasure, that's when it is that you do those shameful things that are considered self sabotage that you don't want to face others about. And you start isolating. And before you know it, your mind is gone and your loved ones lost you.
Mm. Buried in yourself, man. I saw a quote that said, and it stuck with me because I realized this. When I tell you it's true what I experienced when it comes to self neglect leads to self sabotage. This quote says that a man, when a man loses sight of his purpose, he seeks pleasure.
There you go. There you
When a
go.
man loses sight of his purpose, he seeks pleasure. So I think about that and it hit me because I realized y'all know how I could be a workaholic. I'm on go, 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 go. You feel me? And I would I would go for like months, and then like I would get to a point where I'm like I don't feel like doing nothing, and with that nothing turns into like what I realized I've been doing is neglecting myself,
Hmm.
and then that self sabotage. What I do is a negative isolation
Right.
where I'm pushing people away or I'm ignoring people. And it's like why outside they don't know. I'm
Right.
still smiling, I'm still laughing. outside, they don't know, and then they don't have no choice if they only can go off of what I'm giving them. They like, what did I do? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And it's like, it's not you.
right,
It's not you. It's just I've reached my breaking point. Thankfully, I'm aware of it before I just lash out. When I was a teenager, and I had my group of guys, my gang, if you will. Uh, I called it a I don't give a fuck mode. It was a
right,
mode. It was a mode that I would get in. Like
right,
it would be sunny, summer. We got hydration. We got popsicles and water. We out. The kid's funny. We out, you know what I'm saying? We done went hooping. You might have hit the pool. We got a little money, so the car gas stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got time on our hands. We got some girls we checking out. We got food, bro. Like everything you could want at that moment, you got
right,
it. And come the end of the day, I just like shut out. And my guys would be like, "Oh, he in that mode again. Just leave him alone for a little bit." You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like they the guys so acclimated to what that was. And looking back, I've been resolved this about myself. But looking back, like in those moments, that's when in that period of time, that's when I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know where the next place I was gonna be able to stay at. I still was finishing high school. I had I was working. I had to work. I had to pay for night school in order to graduate. Um, you know what I'm saying? I just had a whole lot that I was dealing with, but I wouldn't actually tell nobody. I would just shut out, and then it's like, yo, like this nigga look mad. I might shed like a tear or something. You ever get so mad you get so angry that you cry? You know what
absolutely,
I'm saying? Like I would like just randomly get in that mode, and my guys like, "I just leave them alone." You know what I'm saying? They'll continue about their day, and one of them or all of them will come back like, "You ready to chill now, bro? You good, bro?" You know what I'm
mm,
saying? They might offer me the blunt or something. I still wasn't a smoker, but they might offer me the blunt or something. I wouldn't take it, but I appreciate that you actually thought of me. And that small gesture, like I was able to accept that affirmation. That's what
right,
is in this book, Battle Cry by
mm,
Mr. Jason Wilson. Um, One of the things that, to sum all of this up, uh, I said it was a heavy burden that a lot of us take on to try to like change the dynamics of the family, right?
right,
The whole family, not just our household, but our immediate family, our
right,
outward family. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing, the whole family tree about to be good because of me. Let me water this thing.
right, right,
Um, when we take that role on, we can neglect ourselves on that path, which leads to sabotage, right? Um,
right. And why is it that we feel that way, right? About our family, about wanting to, you know, bring them or wanting to be able to provide for them is
mm,
because of our view of luxury. That's what it's about, right? Being able to, when we talk about abundance, being able to give people, the expensive things that it is that they want, that it is that we feel like they deserve, because we see how that luxury is valued in society, right? So then we start
mm,
putting all this pressure on ourselves in order to be able to obtain those same type of luxuries that in all actuality lead to the same vanity that we might already be experiencing with the few luxuries we do have, right?
yes,
The stuff
yes,
that we do have ain't necessarily made us the most abundantly happy. You feel me? So why is it that more of it or bigger or more expensive when in all actuality they cost more, right? They not only cost more in monetary, but they cost more just labor, more labor in that it is that you have to do in order to be able to obtain it. like that cost is heavy also. So when we have these talks with our family and understanding what it is that they hope for, we got to make sure that it's deeper than surface level. It's deeper than the Range Rover that mama want. You
Mm.
know, like so I just
No,
wanted to
you're
bring
right,
that up.
bro.
I'm worried about cooking though, because I think that's why my phone overheated. I was just cooking, you know. What I mean, I was just going, just talking, and then all of a sudden I just got a sign saying the phone overheating, and I don't even know what happened. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry that it it went out the way that it did.
it's
You know,
cool as
I'll
long
try to
as
tone
look.
it down. I guess I don't know.
Nah, you good, bro. Anytime we start cooking, that's when them smoke detectors go off anyway.
Right.
They trying to shut you down, but nah, we don't do that. Every time we get good, we start going through challenge, and
Yeah,
maybe that's because of my mentality. I think that all good things, all rewards are after the challenge anyway. So
I like that.
uh, it ain't gonna come. It ain't gonna come to you easy. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be after the challenge anyway. My
Right.
guy said, haven't lost sight of the purpose, but I have been finding a lot of pleasure in this first half of 2025. I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you, bro.
he's
See,
balling.
yeah, Keith's
I ain't gonna lie,
balling
Keith's balling.
and he's experiencing life. So you're not only supposed to. So when you talk about the success, when you talk about the purpose,
Mm,
understand that we don't. Purpose is not singular. You know what I mean? The purpose, like I said, goals expand, purpose narrows.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So some of us don't realize that the purpose is to enjoy life.
I
Some
like
of us
that. I
don't
like that
realize that.
purpose. That's
You know
not
what I'm
what I
saying?
usually associate purpose with.
You
You
know what I'm
feel me?
saying?
I think about labor when I think about purpose. I think about serving.
Yes,
That's what I think about when I think about purpose. So
right,
enjoying that the pleasures of life. I like that.
right.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to reap the fruits of your labor.
Mm.
So you're supposed to have your cake and eat it too. I'm not getting the cake and just looking at it. You're
Right.
supposed to, and then you speak on abundance. I know you know the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Mm.
That one can really put you in the mindset for abundance because I try to give this example, right? So if you believe in God, God is the Father. What Father, when we talk about blessings, we usually look at blessings in material manner, right? What Father will continue to give to an ungrateful child, right?
Right.
And I posed that question because when you switch your mentality to abundance, it's not about simply having more because more options can be stressful as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
More isn't always better. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about abundance, it's switching your mentality to see the abundance that you already possess, that's
Right.
around you, that's within you, to see the beauty in life, the beauty in others, the beauty in just being, right?
Mm.
To actually be grateful that you are here, to realize to wake up is an opportunity, it's a
Right.
blessing, right?
Right.
To realize the abundance of blessings that you already receive. And I read this book. It's called The Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino. At the end of that book, sorry for the spoiler, it's a great book. You should definitely read it. But at the end of that book, he describes how for a normal functioning human body, over a trillion things have to be happening in sync for you to be fun. For me to do so
Mm.
much just had to happen.
Right.
You are a walking miracle.
Mm.
If just one of those trillion things was off, I wouldn't be able to lift. I wouldn't be able to signal movement. I wouldn't be able to speak. I wouldn't be able to see. I wouldn't be able to do everything at the functionality that we consider normal. When you
Mm.
look at it, that is abundance. You see how much has to go right just for you to be here?
Man.
And we focus on the one or two things that we like, oh man, life fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
bro, so much other stuff is going good that you just not focused on. So when you switch your mentality to abundance, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to moms, because my moms did it too, kind of programmed it too, where I
Mm.
had to reprogram it, you
Right.
know what I'm saying, from the impoverished mentality. But it also was true. And like at least I'm able, at the very least, I'm not struggling towards my bills. I have a place to stay. I have lights on. I
Mm.
have AC or heat. I have food. I have transportation. I have
Right.
a means of communication and entertainment. I never get bored, bro.
Right.
I
My
think,
mom.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
no, you
interrupt.
good. You good. Go ahead.
Yeah, my mom. She was always grateful. You know, like she never did not say that she was grateful for what it is that we had, even when she tried to make it seem, small. She was just grateful. She was just thankful to have that, And so that gratitude, even if we get in that mode where we may be complaining, we still have to choose to be grateful and voice that gratitude. And yeah, I mean,
Gratitude equals abundance, bro.
yeah.
Right? Because the more that you're thankful for, the more that will come. So you go back to that reference of the father. What father would bless an ungrateful child? You think about the person that, if you have kids or just somebody that you looked out for, as soon as they're not appreciative and they start to expect, I know me personally,
Mm,
if you start to expect what I went out my way for you,
mm,
it becomes the regular, the norm, to where you don't even ask or, what I'm saying, show your appreciation anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Whatever it is that you are no longer appreciative of. And shout out, uh, yes, sir. Thank you for being here, man. Appreciate you always. Got a 9 o'clock bedtime. I like that. So
it'll catch us in the morning. You feel me? This it's gonna be recorded. You feel me?
you
We
feel
live
me?
now, but we gonna be able to rewatch it.
I am anyway. I know I am.
I hear that.
So, where I was going. So yeah, so that's one of the main reasons that breakups occur
Mm,
is whatever you was doing in the beginning, you fell off from.
right,
Whatever you did to attract that person, man and woman,
right,
whatever you did to attract that person, if in the beginning as a woman you dolled yourself up, they never could see you without your hair done and all of that stuff. When y'all finally together, keep that same energy. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Same for the guy. If you were super chivalrous in the beginning, make sure that she never has to open the door. She never has to
mm,
worry about who paying and all of that stuff. Then you keep that up throughout the relationship.
right.
And one of the main reasons relationships fall off is because if that person does upkeep what they was doing from the beginning and you stop appreciating,
Mm,
it's so, right, when you stop appreciating that's where we're like, I hear a lot of guys and especially the women say like whatever a guy talks about provision, right? In
mm,
a sense of getting a woman. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of women in response like that's the bare minimum. Like you're supposed to respect me. You're supposed to be able to talk to me. You're supposed to okay, but when that happens, you're supposed to be appreciative of it. If
Right.
just once it becomes expectation, it no longer is appreciated. It no longer will be as important for that person to continue doing
Right.
it. And
That's yeah. Yeah.
woo,
You're right. You're right. Man, I'm we the same. We similar. Us being Leos. Like, if I do you a courtesy, please recognize that it's a courtesy. I did not have to do this. You feel me? I did not have to do this. And so you're not gonna continue to expect a courtesy. Just like you're talking about the woman who's saying that, that's what you're supposed to do. That's
mm,
that's the bare minimum. You feel me? Well, I guess you being grateful for it is the bare minimum.
mm.
So it's just like match me here. You feel me? Oh boy.
Hey, you got the link. Yo, the
Yeah,
dog is real quick.
yeah. That's one of the things that you were talking about earlier, as far as just boundaries, setting boundaries
Mm,
with people, setting boundaries with family. When they expect you to go above and beyond when you didn't have to do anything at all. And just being ungrateful or being taken for granted. That's the fastest way for me to roar at somebody, like, because I try to be self-sufficient the best that I
right.
can. I try to provide what I need. I try to provide for myself that provision. So when I have to go out the way to help others with things that I feel as though they should be able to do for themselves, I don't know. I could talk about that. I could talk about that more. I really could.
I like how you bridge that with the family
Hmm.
because the family does that strong. Like I know so many. That's part of the breakups. Like so
Hmm.
many people, especially like I get old, like they get older, they got children and whatnot, and they feel as though okay, now I've already done my part. Y'all supposed to take care of me. So they
Hmm.
really like ease off the gas and just like y'all supposed to do this, that, and it gets so deep that it's towards communication. Like I know aunties and uncles too, like the men and women of the older generations who like don't call, don't check in, don't talk. And then when you finally see them, they like, wait, nobody talk to me, ain't nobody say nothing. Like you don't talk, you're not inviting, you're not warming. You,
Right.
how is somebody supposed to like back to that discussion of boundaries and barriers? Like I'm not walking around with a chisel to break down your wall just to be able to
Right.
talk to you. You know what I mean? And how do you have an expectation that somebody's supposed to take care of you? I want to. And I know we discussed that a lot throughout this live. I want to, but I want to because of what I always see. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So if I was raised around you, I saw either you struggling but you kept your head up, or you've done for me, you showed me love. I want to reciprocate that. That's
Right.
mainly where that's from. You know what I'm saying? It's out of love that I want to do for you. It's not out of ego that I'm a man and I can take care of everything. It's not that for me.
Right.
It's for that for some guys, but that's not what it is for me. It's out of love that I want to do for you. I want you to not have to do as much as you. Like my mom in her 50s, you're not going to be able to continue working and then like going hard with working. Like I want you to be able to work when you want to. I want you to be able to rest. I want you to be able to travel and chill without having to worry about the money. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where my drive for that type of provision for you comes from. But not she has not like laid back like my son's supposed to be the one that what I
Right.
mean. If that's the case, no, you You in your, you know, the mentality gets switched. You in your 50s, you still could work. Stop
Yeah,
playing.
yeah, I hear you, dog.
You know what I'm saying? That's dope. I love how you integrated that to the family because I was surely thinking about, spouse, but I love how you integrated that with the family. And
Yeah,
that's you right too, Keith.
dating,
EOs always keep a tally.
dating too, dating and relationships. You know, it can become a bit of a tug of war in just like who's doing more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, or always wanting to point out to the other one what it is that I'm doing as opposed to what you doing. You know, that those tensions rising and being created. And, you know, those are, you got to avoid those because they just breed resentment. You
bro,
know, eventually people, they get tired or they voice how it is that they actually feel about it, and sometimes y'all are at the breaking point. By the time the conversation happens, y'all at the breaking point. So now you gotta go your separate ways. You feel me? Like, and that's never fun. So
I'm
I
trying to
know I
tell you.
know a thing or two about that. So
And we could open that up too. We could definitely uh, talk on that subject. What
mm.
I want to point out is I have been with my woman for 17 years. I'm 34, so I'm a young man. Thank you, sir. Look, hold up.
As to be commended, I'm proud of you, black man.
Thank you.
You
Right.
are not the stereotype. You feel me? Any of those stigmas that they try to put on us
Mm,
or those myths about black men and how they are in relationships. You are an outlier and I love you.
thank you, sir. Love you too.
Yo.
Has not been easy.
Mm,
One of the things that I learned and had to learn because this was detrimental to my marriage. We got married in 2021, so we only been married for about 4 years, but we've been
mm,
together since I was 17.
right.
And a lot of growing, a lot of development in that within that time. But when we crossed the threshold of marriage, we both felt as though we didn't have an expectation of the other. We
Mm,
both soon realized that that was not true. We
mm,
both have expectations of what a married partner is supposed to be like.
right.
Whatever it is that we think you should do more of or actually start doing, we thought that those was going to just automatically happen
Mm,
once we crossed. No, we have to instill more communication. This is why communication has become so pivotal to my purpose. It is my purpose because what I learned was, and shout out to marriage counseling, we did that and everything, bro. Cause I just didn't know if I was gonna make. I was like, ain't no way we got all the way up here and we about to drop the ball. I was like, ain't no way, bro. Got to do something. One of the things that I learned, I had a coach at the time. I had a marriage counselor. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on mentorship, and they was the right people for me. My coach told me exactly the same thing that you said, Keith. He told me we gotta stop keeping score
mm,
because it's as long as it's a tit for tat, it's a competition, and there is no companionship there. There's no coming together there. If you are married, understand that you are becoming one.
right.
So he told me like whatever you do to her, you are doing to yourself.
Mm,
So would you hold this? Would you belittle yourself this way? You know what I'm saying? Would you? You know what I'm saying? And I learned like so. The small grape sport of that. I learned so many things that were so small. They could spoil the vine if you allow them to.
right. All right.
When they say pick your battles, bruh, a lot of these aren't actual battles. You feel
Right.
me?
Mm,
Like a lot of this stuff ain't actually
yeah.
like. And if you paid attention to your person, then you'll be able to see like one, y'all are still two different people, but y'all a unified couple now. So how this person moves, you know what I'm saying? If we, right and left, how does the left operate?
Right.
And as a leader, you're going to have to pay attention to that in order to mold that. As a leader, you want to highlight the strengths and work on the weaknesses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some of the weaknesses are there for that balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I know my person doesn't do this or doesn't do this well. I'm gonna make sure that that's taken care of. I
Mm,
can't force this person to be better in an area of life that they don't see themselves needing to be better in. I
right.
can't force you into self development.
Mm,
Force and leadership are two different things. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So just coming from that forceful aspect, trying to like push you into being the better, it don't work. So I had to learn, Keith, like a true lesson is stop keeping score. And when I stopped keeping score, it brought me back to the beginning frame of mind where I just want to do for this person.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
I just want to do for them. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like she's already earned my trust. She's already earned my respect. She's already earned me doing something for her. She's already shown appreciation, but she can't. I remember an argument we had, and within that argument, like she broke down and she told me, like, you're not even allowing me the opportunity to be able to be grateful.
Mm,
Like, I'm not even like as soon as I do something, now the ticker's on. Like,
mm,
we don't appreciate. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting.
right.
It took 36 hours for you
Mm.
to say thank you instead of like, yo, it said thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
stop keeping score.
I do I do see. I hear what you're saying about maybe clocking her being upset about not giving her the opportunity to be. But I can imagine that maybe what it is that you did, you might have done it begrudgingly to begin with. It might have been something that you didn't actually want to do to begin with. And so now when you do it and you don't feel that gratitude for it, it validates to you why you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't from love. I'm gonna tell you what it is. My
Right.
therapist told me. Oh man, I think about it so often whenever it is he tells me, because we talk about men and how primarily we might look to logic first, rationality, things like that, right? My therapist, he says to me, because I'm telling him I'm going on about what's happening in my relationship, and he looks at me and he says, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be in love?" And I said, "Doc, what do you mean?" what, what do you mean, Doc? He said, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be in love?" And I was like, "I want both." And he said,
Right.
"Your woman not allowing it. So just love her." And I said, "But that's not right, Doc. That's not what's supposed to happen." And he said, "She don't care. So are you staying or not? Are you gonna be right or you gonna be in love?" And I said, "I guess I'm gonna be in love." And he said, "Good answer." So, I think that that's a great way to say that women's emotional needs, put that first. If you love that woman, if you care about her, you you losing arguments all the time, so be it. She still love you, care about you at the end of the day, and y'all come together anyways with you losing arguments, then so be it, man. So be it.
So
Let her have it. Like you said about picking battles.
if
And
I,
the only thing I would say, the only caveat I guess I would say is if we're talking about leadership, if we're talking about development, and your woman, she looks to you as that leader. She chooses to be soft because she knows that you are going to be the one that is able to, be hard, I guess. Um, some principles, some principles do have to be taught, even
absolutely.
with tough love. And women often recognize Utley, I thought about you today. I thought about you on your 10-year journey, and I was saying, you know what? I might I might adopt the 10-year journey, Utley. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's tough out here. But principally, you know, when you're the leader and it's established you're the leader, she looks at you as such. Sometimes there will be principles that will have to be taught. And most of the time, especially with a woman loving you the way that she does, she can recognize when your leadership was warranted. Like, maybe how I feel about this is not as important as the principle that you're telling me about or you're teaching me. So,
So if I may, Sir Utley says, sorry, I'm always right. Is that why I'm single? Possibly. But we also know that he could explain. That's a caption. That's a hook. He could explain what he means by he's always right,
right,
because within that he could admit when he's wrong. And being a student of life, we're always looking to learn, so we're always improving. So if I'm right, I'm right. You know what I'm saying? Some things you know, some things you solidify. You know what I'm saying? Other things you are still learning. So sorry, I'm always right. Is that why I'm single? Could be. Another comment from my brother says, learn to be wrong the right way. We got some prophetic brothers in here, man. I'm telling you. I love that. Learn to be wrong the right way. But for those who are listening that may not have had the experience, I can hear how this conversation may sound to you. I want to elaborate, you know what I'm saying, on the pick your battles essence of it. Especially when your therapist said, do you want to be right or do you want to be in love? I like that concept that he brought to you. But what I want to break it down as is to not be right does not mean that you are wrong.
right,
A
right.
lot of times, what I tell people is most mishaps stem from miscommunication. So what happens is a lot of times we are saying the same thing.
Mm,
We just saying it in a different way. And we don't understand how the other person is saying it.
right,
So a lot of times, emotionally sound person, this men's mental health month, so I'm gonna say an emotionally sound, emotionally aware man is one who would be able to say, okay, what are we trying to get at here? You know what I'm
right,
saying? What are we arguing for? Like, I don't want to partake in the argument. I don't know nobody. I don't know no guys that want to argue,
right,
right? But if tempers have flared, the conversation is gone all the way off the track, and now it's gotten to the point where we're, screaming at each other, having a screaming match, or being a little bit more like from the chest. You got the veins popping out your neck, and it's like you did this. And one thing I want to highlight, and I learned this is an argument is a form of communication. So don't
Definitely.
expect, you feel me? So don't expect a healthy relationship that never has an argument, right? The argument does not have to be on you. It's not like accountability and blame are two different things.
Mm,
So it's not always your fault and you're not always in the wrong, but you're not always right either. So when he says learn to be wrong the right way, I don't want that to seem like submission and sorry, I'm always right. Is that why I'm single? I don't want to be seen as ego either.
dominance.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Dominant.
you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like we talked about it with Saba Utley, you gotta learn this balance. And that balance in that portion of relationship, not just with spouse, but with family and every, all of the ships we covered, it's being able to get to the root.
Right.
That's like what's the cause? Like this is the effect. So the argument is the effect. What was the cause of the argument?
Right.
Because we're just not on the same page right now, and it's like I can't believe that you don't understand me. That's basically what it is. So
Mm.
let me. I usually go to a place of let me try to understand you, or I'll communicate that I'm not understanding what it is that you're trying to get through. What are you trying to tell me?
Right.
Instead of because it gets into the bickering before we or even after we've gotten into bickering because I could talk my I could pop my shit too. Even sometimes after the bickering, the name calling or whatever, it's like, so what are you trying to tell me? You know what I mean?
Right.
And leaning more into the communication of trying to understand empathy, leaning more into that usually resolves the issue. Sometimes, yeah, you just agree to disagree. Sometimes a third party whom you both can trust can say it in a manner where it makes sense. And that's
Right.
what happened when I went. That's what happened to when we went to marriage counseling.
Right.
Was and I ain't gonna put her business out there. I'm willing to be transparent, but I'm gonna protect her.
Understood.
But what happened was I understood her. I took accountability. I need you to now understand me and you take accountability. I can't make you take
Hmm.
accountability. But what was happening was once I admitted my wrong, it was like, okay, we just gonna stay there. No,
Right.
we're not gonna stay there. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you know, like I can take accountability for me, but I can't take
Mm.
accountability for the whole situation because it wasn't just me in this situation. You know what I'm saying?
There's
Like it was.
nothing. There's nothing more frustrating than when you know your partner. You
Yeah.
know that they're smart. You know that they know better. You know what I mean? That they playing in your face. They playing in your face like they can fool you. Like, no,
Right.
you know
Yeah.
better. You know what it is that we talking about. You
Yeah.
know what I'm telling you is right, but you getting emotional about it. You know, you getting emotional about it, and now you want to be able to opt out of the conversation, opt out of the argument because now you feel how you do about it. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear any of that because I know how smart you are. I know.
Right.
Hell, you probably taught me this before. We've even had this argument before. I was on the other side, and you
Right.
taught me, and now you're trying to. So I get it. Sometimes it be that way with couples, and just choosing. Having to choose that love that Doc was talking about. You feel me? Because really, that should be the ultimate goal, and it'd be difficult, bro. It'd be really difficult when you may be your your partner's partner, right?
Hmm.
But you might have strengths that she don't, maybe in things like maturity. So now it's coming off like you her daddy, and she telling you you not my daddy, and you telling her yes I am. That's a new argument. That's a new argument. So
Them lying fangs are showing, bro.
yeah.
I love all of that, man. We got about 15 more minutes, and I got like a few more questions that we
Oh,
can keep
okay.
rolling on.
All right.
As I told y'all, this will not be the last time that me and Kwonton will be live and will be presented to you. So always tune in when you see me and him. You know what I'm saying? I want to ask, what's one practice or habit that changed your mental health journey?
Mm, a practice or habit that changed my mental health journey.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm hoping you talking about change it for the better, right?
Yeah,
Change it for
improve
the better.
mental
Okay.
health better.
Okay. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I also started getting into fitness a little bit. I came across this podcast, Three Friends, finance, mindset, fitness,
Hmm.
and they instilled the importance of the fitness aspect and how it relates to mindset and finance. And I said, you know
Hmm.
what? I'm gonna go to the gym too. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna start dabbling a little bit. Fast forward, uh, I was able to put on some weight, hit some weight goals, things like that. And there's nothing like what happens to your mind once you get in the gym. Once you really start like getting your heart pumping, cardio, lifting weights, getting stronger, what it does to you as far as your outlook, you know, uh, just personally how it is that you develop.
Yeah,
So I'm a big advocate of getting active and just the fortitude that comes from it. I I'm gonna answer that question that way.
I know that's right, man. That is definitely one of the main things. I'm gonna attribute this to our brother Keith, where he said that in the beginning, he said, let me see if I can find that comment. Says, one may argue that the things you learn while on that money grind can seep over into aspects of your personal life. Patience, discipline, consistency, leading other people, just my experience.
Mm,
And it's also the same with your financial. So fitness, mindset, finance all connects. We understand that we are a triunity
mm,
of a being that is mind, body, and spirit.
right.
And if you're not taking care of one area, the other areas get affected.
Mm,
Vice versa. When you start doing something physically, man, that confidence boost. Now you like, sure, I could do all types of other stuff. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And then you start getting your money right. When your money right, your body right, your confidence up, your spirit is up. You're feeling
Right.
good. You start to see the abundance because you're getting the result from some of the work that you're putting in. You know what I mean? So now you're getting your mind right, your body right, your spirit right. You might even start reading or listening to a podcast.
There
You
you
might
go.
even, you know what I'm
There you
saying,
go.
start taking the opportunity to talk to somebody. Somebody might ask you a question. You might
Right.
develop all types of friendships or, mentorship or whatnot, what have you. I know we work out here at the steps in Richmond. It's these steps called Libby Hill Death Steps. Yes, that's what they're called. Um, and most of the people that come out there to work out, every person that I've interacted with has had a story and a
Mm,
reason. I
right.
mean, to go challenge yourself in a place that's literally named after death. I mean, yeah. So let me heal death steps. Every person that challenges themselves that I've interacted with uh, has had a story, and each one I've held dear to my heart. I've definitely learned from, and it's like, yo, most of the people that I talk to, like, I never shared this with anybody. You know what I'm saying? I never talked to, and it's like, yo, you realize that you came out here to work on your body. The presence, the outside, because it's outside the steps. Being outside, you're one with nature. That's working on your spirit, being able to breathe. You're calm. It's just you versus you. You're
Mm,
working on your mind as well. You know what I'm saying? And that led to somebody being able to have this conversation with you that you never had before. You know what I mean?
right.
So yeah, shout out to you. That's definitely a practice that all the guys that's paying attention do something physical and it'll change your mind. It'll build your mind and your mindset to see your capability in other areas. Most guys that, you know, like I said, they usually come to me about mindset when it comes to relationship. The first thing that I tell them to do is do something physical. And from that point, we can lean into the mental work. You know what I'm saying? Once you get acclimated to physical exercise, then you'll be ready to do the mental exercise.
No doubt.
You feel me? How important would you say is brotherhood or community for men?
I would say it's extremely important just to be able to find and say that you have your tribe,
Mm,
people that it is that you relate to, you know, others that are like minded in maybe your hobbies, your interests, you know, it confirms that you're not alone or that
hello.
you're not the only one who is feeling the way that you feel or enduring what you do or enjoying the things that you enjoy.
Yeah,
There's a community for everybody,
for everybody.
for all sorts of things. And I mean, they linking up for a reason. There's a reason why it is that they all get together the way that they do and interact in the ways that they do. So, you know, again, we want men to know that they human. You feel me?
Mm,
And they recognize themselves as such, and they refer to themselves as such. Everybody else, they group together.
mm.
We not going not do that just because we men. You feel me? We
Come on.
human too. We also need interaction. Men find a brotherhood, find a tribe, and get to it.
Message.
Yes,
I was a little jaded. I hadn't heard none. I hadn't heard any up to this point. You feel me? I thought the button might be broke.
I had pushed it one other time, but we just been spitting, so I kind of just been hands free. My
Got
bad.
you. Got
You
you.
know what I'm saying? But definitely, I got two more questions.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Before we wrap it up, because we can keep going. First, before I ask the questions, first thing I want to do, shout out Rebuilding Men. Shout out Rebuilding Men. That's the shirt that Mr. Kwonton is wearing. That's the logo of Rebuilding Men. That is a nonprofit created by our brother Paul D. Berry here in Richmond. But it's also got virtual spaces where us men could actually come together. That's a place for us fellas to be able to commune, be able to uh, embrace one another, be able to just get something off our chest. Because as the saying goes, and it holds true, there's some things that only a man can talk to a man about. You know what I
Mm,
mean? There's some things that only another dude will understand, like this
well,
type of pressure. Like I've tried it, bro. I've tried it. Like I can talk to my woman about anything, and I feel like I can. But there
oof,
isn't any everything she's not going to be able to understand from
right,
her perspective. What I'm actually trying to say. There's things that I brought up and from her perspective turned into argument, and it's like
right, right.
how did that you know what I'm saying? But I tell a guy, and they're like, yeah, I completely understand what you say.
You might be putting extra anxiety on your woman. That's something that I had to learn in my last partnership. Things that
Yes, sir.
I should have been talking to men about. I
Mm.
was letting my lady know, and sure enough, she ain't forget it. And when she saw evidence of it, and she recognized that she didn't like it, it became a problem. So yeah,
But
yeah,
it's work. Absolutely. So if you're a guy and you're looking for a space for the commune with other fellas, fellowship, brothership, you know what I'm saying? With you need your camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for that space, get at one of us. Uh, we always here. I know I am. And I invite you to Rebuilding Men, which we will have the information for that present when I do the live with the founder of that nonprofit.
yeah,
You feel me?
yeah. Gotta do that. Looking forward to that, man.
You know what I'm saying? So be on the lookout. We're gonna make that happen. I just wanted to throw that out there. Two more questions, and this one is pretty important.
Mm,
How do you balance? And we kind of like brought it led into it. How do you balance being emotionally available
mm.
without becoming emotionally
How do you balance it? Mm.
overwhelmed? It might be something we still figuring
That's
out,
a
ain't
heck
it?
of a question, man. That's a heck of a question.
Oh man.
I think it. I think it comes down to willingness. Okay, when you say the availability, and you have to recognize what your limit is. You have to be
Hmm.
able to recognize when somebody is asking more of you than you're able to do for them, or more than
Message.
you have capacity for. So, yeah, I mean, I think about people with servant hearts, right? People who have been placed on this earth to serve others. However, they are not over serving. They're not giving them all that it is that they have within them. They're
Hmm.
able to reserve some for themselves. You know, they always talk about your cup, your cup filling, your cup running over, my cup being empty, things like that. That comes from serving.
Woo.
That's what it is that they do. That's what they have. They have cups. They bring them to you. So that's an example of people who it is that have that availability, that emotional availability, that ability to care for others, to be empathetic, be sympathetic to other people, but they still recognize within themselves that they have their needs as well. They don't overdo it.
Bars, bro. Because I have been that person. So I had to
Mm,
learn this through trial and error.
mm,
Because I always wanted to make myself available. But if
mm,
you're always available, you are neglecting yourself.
definitely.
So when I talk about that self neglect, like I spoke on earlier, I would be doing, I would be fulfilling purposeful, I would be doing purpose work, right? I would be serving.
Right.
And I done did so much for so many other people. What have I done for me? So
Right.
then I would get to this point where my cup is empty, as you would say. My cup is empty, my cup is running low. I don't have much more that I can give.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Without now taking it in. I think it was Felicia Rashad that said that you have to learn how to help people without hurting yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How I word that is don't go in the red trying to get somebody else in the green.
Mm.
So this is not just an emotional thing. This is a physical thing. This is a time thing. This is a financial thing. You know, most people that want some type of assistance, I'll go back to the family that expects people to take care of them.
Right.
Most of them that want the type of assistance they want is for you to pay something, pay for something, or give some type of money,
Right.
right? So if you was to try to keep that up, for whatever reason, but it's detrimental to you or it's hurting you or your check ain't all the ways the same or
Right.
you know what I'm saying, you're not budgeting, you just making sure that you give. Like on the back end, you thinking like, yeah, that's gonna come back to me, but you also need to be like, hold on, let me make sure that my priorities are taken care of first
Mm-hmm.
before I just give. You
Right.
feel me? And
Absolutely.
as generous as I am, I really had to learn that. Like I really had to learn that. I had to learn boundaries. I had to learn to say no. I had to learn how to accept other people not accepting me after
Right.
I've chosen myself.
Absolutely. I'm a person. It's not very often that I do something spontaneous. I'm very like routine driven. You feel me?
Yeah.
So if somebody asks something of me that is going to inconvenience my routine, I have learned that I have to tell them no. I have to let them know like, hey, maybe I can do that for you tomorrow, but I didn't foresee having to do that for you today, so I'm not going to be able to do that for you. It's something that is I've had to teach to my family, a boundary that is I've been having to make with my family because I mean there was times in my relationship I'm doing something with my lady and family member calls me, tells me that they need this, that, and the other, and I gotta look at her and I say, "That's my family." And
Mm,
it's,
mm.
nigga, I'm your family. What you mean? What you mean? You told me we was doing this and this. I
Yes.
understand that is happening, but I'm going by what you told me. Your word to
Yeah.
me was that we was doing this. And that's what it is that I come to expect for you. That's what I made space in order to have. And now
Woo.
you gonna sit here and tell me that you ain't gonna do that. Boy, you wouldn't believe how many times that something like that happened. Just spontaneously. Was having a great day. Just everything going so good. You wanna be generous, you wanna help somebody else. Hurt yourself.
Woo.
Hurt yourself.
Message.
So
Bruh.
so yeah, that's just a little example. Just if what I gotta do for you is gonna inconvenience me, then I'm not gonna be able to do it for you. Especially if it's been a conversation we had before, where it is like maybe I'll submit. Maybe I will submit. It's something that it is urgent. It's an emergency. You really need this. You know what? I can come through for you. I can do that for you. And tell them, hey, you know, I got you out of this bond. I'm glad that I was able to help you, but next time, I'm gonna need a little bit of a notice before something like that occurs. And they don't give that notice, and they ask anyway. I I can't do
Mm-mm.
it. I can't do it for
Setting
you. I'm
boundaries.
sorry.
That that is powerful, bro. That is powerful. You have to learn. Like I really had to learn to keep my priorities priority. My
Mm,
priority is me, my woman, what we got going on. Those
right,
my priorities. I'm gonna make
right,
sure home is good. I'm gonna make
right,
sure she is good. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
if you need me to help you out with a bill, but my bills still need to be paid,
right.
sorry, I can't. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
can't. Not until mine is straight. I can't hurt myself helping you. You know
there
what I'm
you go.
saying?
We were talking earlier. I was talking to you about doing things begrudgingly. Bro,
Mm,
that was me. I love whenever you talk about the difference between kind and niceness, where it is
yeah,
that you talk about in niceness, how it is that you kind of mold yourself and you lose your self identity because you always just trying to appease others. Bro, that had been me for so long. And you have that soft spot for your family,
yes.
for the people that is that you love the most and you care for, and you'll lose yourself trying to serve them. Man, I don't want to do that no more.
Right,
Yeah, I don't
right.
want to do that anymore.
Especially when we're one, if you are one who placed that responsibility or that weight on your shoulders of making sure that the family is good. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Those types of decisions will make you choose or, the lack of choice of
right,
yourself. You don't prioritize yourself when it comes to like, and it's not a bad thing. It's not coming from a bad place that you want to help somebody else, right? But you got to take the cape off, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like these old phrases really hold true. Like can't
mm.
help everybody. And
Can't
I
help
I
everybody.
used to I still have a tug of war on the inside when it's like, but I know I can.
Right,
But if it's not the fact of whether I can or not. It's what I cannot right now. Is my help even actually helping?
right,
Because what you're asking of me, say for instance, somebody does. Most of my people know that I don't give money, right?
mm.
So they've learned to ask me for the actual thing that they need.
Okay,
Because if I just give you the money for it, then you can do whatever and you'll come back later. Like now I've just become a source of money. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Um, so most of my people, like my brother recently, he was like, he lives on his own. It's his first time living on his own. And he was like, I could use some fruit. Say less. I'm gonna go get some fruit. I could fill your whole fridge up with fruit. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But if he was to be like, bro, can you help me out real quick? It's gonna come with questioning. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? And that questioning usually you already had to muster up the courage to ask for help. So the extra questioning you're not gonna want to deal with. A lot of times it takes it off of the table, like never mind. You know what I'm saying? You want too much. But it's not too much for me to know where this is going or to figure out how to actually help you.
Right,
Because let's say you do get yourself in a bind, right? They say you are the sum of your daily habits.
mm.
So,
Mm.
what did you do that led you into this situation?
Right,
If you don't want to take any accountability, if you don't want to see yourself, right? I
mm.
understand it's not my area to just jump on everybody, but if you're asking me for assistance and I can obviously see, like, you know, say for instance, you need a little extra change. I'm like, well, you probably should stop smoking. Smoking is a expensive habit.
Man, man,
You know what I mean?
man.
You
Yeah,
don't want to hear that though. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, well, if we just sum up how much you spend on smoking, especially if you
right,
don't just smoke cigarettes or you don't just smoke weed, you know what I'm saying? You smoking all of the above. You know what I
right.
mean? If you got cigs, blacks, and weed, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Then it's like, yo, you just paid. Let's tally it up then. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
That's a bill. You feel me?
And that builds resentment from both sides. You feel me? And it could have been, it could have all been avoided, you know? So I try to be mindful. I try to be
Right,
mindful of those things. You know, I think
right.
about my mom. Like, there's people that she still resents to this day just because of how much she had to extend herself,
Woo.
and how it wasn't repaid back to her liking. You feel me?
Yeah.
And they're still in a position of need. So
Right.
they still might try to call her. You feel me? Like, I'm still mad about the last time you called. No, I don't want to help you. You know,
Right.
it's like, you helped me before and now you don't want to help me no more, and I'm still in a position where I need help. Well, it's F you too then. You know, and
Right.
so now you got those family disconnects that you spoke of, where people ain't messing with each other, and it was just a matter of boundary.
Yeah.
One person didn't set up boundaries, the other person didn't respect that
Woo.
a boundary was needed.
Come
So,
on, bro.
you know.
Especially, you preaching, bro. So how do you balance being emotionally available without becoming emotionally overwhelmed? Is keeping yourself priority,
Mm,
acknowledging your own limits.
mm,
We are men. I know me. I like to challenge my limits. I like to get a new PR, a personal record. So I like to
mm,
push the boundary. I like to push the limits. I like to test the waters, if you will.
right,
Um, and that is how I can say, through challenging myself in these areas, in these realms, in these arenas, that I have been able to build the tenacity to be able to handle so much of an emotional turmoil that this world is in. You know what I
right.
mean? Um, being the knowledge of my own emotion.
Mm,
So, like you say, it can't pour from an empty cup, right? So, if I'm not, and I say I get in that realm of working myself to the point where I neglect myself. If I'm neglecting myself, I'm not going to be able to attend to you.
facts.
Whatever I'm not doing for me, I'm not going to be able to do. If I'm, it's because whatever is needed, I can give to me, and that's a bar that most of us need to hear
Mm,
when it comes to relationship. Um, some guys will say the women need to hear it more, but the guys need to hear it as well. Whereas I'm not getting my needs met. Your actual needs you need to meet.
mm,
If you're not getting your needs met, those are your responsibilities. The only actual need that comes from someone else is sex.
mm,
If you're having sex by yourself, then what you need with another person?
yeah,
But all of the other needs, you need more love, you need more discipline, you need better financials, you need all of that comes from you. You need to get your
wow,
spirit right. You need more patience. Whatever the need is, I need more attention. Give yourself
right,
more attention. Give yourself more love. Give
right,
yourself more time. Be more patient with yourself, right? Your
right,
actual needs should be met by you. And this is what is meant by another person can't make you happy.
right,
It's not no one else's responsibility,
right.
right? So bringing that back to center, if I'm not doing for myself, I'm no good for anyone else.
Mm,
As much as I can outwardly do, as much as I'm capable of, it ain't coming from that center of love, like you said, is begrudgingly. I've done things out of resentment to help somebody. And them telling me thank you just not enough. Like they'll be like, man, thank you, bro. Okay, bro, thank you, bro. I'm like, all right.
Mm,
because I didn't do it from a caring position. I didn't do it from, what I'm saying? I did it because I felt like I had to, what I'm saying?
right.
I did it begrudgingly, as you said, and
Mm,
those favors aren't ever going to get repaid. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
When you do them from that position, there isn't enough that can be said or done to adhere to your favor. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
you got to get yourself right or acknowledge yourself when you're becoming emotionally overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? And I want to encourage the guys, like, speak on it. It's not a
Right.
weak thing. The person that you're, or the people that you're dealing with, whether it's family, friend, spouse, whatever, the people that you're dealing with, if you speak on it and they care about you and they acknowledge you, they won't see you as weak,
True.
right? They won't see you as weak. If you like, hey, look, man, it's a lot right now. I just can't, like for me, I go live, I have guests, my purpose is in communication. I talk a lot.
Mm,
I have a lot of people that are willing to talk to me and I'm thankful for it. But sometimes I just cannot talk. I gotta recharge too. I just cannot talk.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll answer the phone, but I'll be like, hey, look, I got like 5 minutes I can give you. And then I
Right.
gotta get off. You know what I'm saying? Can you get this point across at 5 minutes or you gonna need more than that? Oh no, I just hit you back. All right, bro. I'll call you back. You know what I'm saying? And I will. And I will. You know what I mean? But if I don't got it, then I let it be known. You know what I'm saying? If I'm feeling some type of way, not that I'm gonna be emotionally disarray, but if I'm feeling some type of way, and to not be confrontational, because I am, but if I'm feeling some type of way, then I let it be known. And I try to separate what I'm feeling from the situation or from the person so
Mm,
that this is what I'm handling versus this is what I'm bringing to you. You know what I mean?
okay.
So a lot of the times, like, that argument realm with communication, what I do or what I learned to do is like, hey, look, don't tell me that there isn't a problem when there's obviously a problem, right?
Mm,
If I see that you're upset or like you're distancing yourself away from me or I see that you're giving me the signals that you feel some type of way and it seems to be catered to me.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I just like you all happy and lovey and outgoing and speaking to strangers, or to other people. But then when I like talk to you, it's like short, one worded. You can't make eye contact with me, or like you starting to walk away, or like hold on. So you
Mm,
mad? Mm, or are you mad with me? You know what I'm saying? So I need the communication. If
right.
you have an issue with me, let me know because otherwise I don't actually know. I mean, I thank you for assuming that I can pick up on everything,
Mm,
but most of the time, what I said, most mishaps stem from miscommunication.
miscommunication.
Most of the time, we don't actually know. Like, did you actually set a boundary? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? For me to have crossed it, I try to talk about disrespect amongst the fellas. What is considered disrespect?
right.
To me, it can't be, it's not a blanket, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if somebody slapped your mama, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like cool, but like, you know, people talk different, people accept different, people got different levels of emotion, different
right.
triggers, different, everybody are different, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know exactly what sets you off. If I
Right.
did something, let me know. And then from there, I could adjust for you out of respect. If I know now, if you let it be known and I know that this is considered, if this is a boundary that you set and I intentionally cross it, now we're in the lanes of disrespect.
There you go.
You feel
There you
me?
go. Yeah. Listen. It's just not one of it's not one of those things I think about. Like it's not one of those. Uh, it doesn't register to me. I guess I have to ask whether or not was that disrespectful. Did they just treat me with disrespect? And so because of that, sometimes people tell me, "Hey, you're being disrespectful," and I didn't recognize, and I let them know, like, "Hey, like I didn't mean any malice towards you. Like that wasn't my intent. You feel me? I apologize. But I totally get where you coming from, but like as far as communicating is concerned, it's so important. I heard you talking to Sean talking about how you bilingual. I'm not. I'm terrible at being able to tell body language. Like I'll totally just be oblivious to it. You feel me? Like you gotta tell me. You gotta be direct with me. You gotta tell me. Otherwise, I'm just unbothered. That's just how I am. So you gotta be straightforward with me, or we won't get nowhere.
Yes, indeed, bro. That's funny. I definitely. So, the question was, how do you balance being emotionally available while not becoming emotionally overwhelmed? Is by knowing yourself, what I'm saying, being willing to communicate
Mm,
and setting the boundaries as needed. You know, those that's the recipe.
right.
That's the recipe if you was to ask me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? One second. Let's see. And one more question, so we could, so I could tend to my woman. Yeah, I mean, all of this has been a fruitful conversation.
I'm glad to hear that, man. That's what I'm
Definitely.
going for. I feel
De-
like you brought me on for a reason. You feel me? Like I felt like I'll be able to give your audience something a little different. Thank you.
I still didn't ask, or we still
Mm.
haven't touched on some of the things I personally wanted to go live with you about, but we'll
Right.
save that for another time. Last question I asked for tonight is, what's one message you want young men to hear
Mm.
about the topics at hand? Dating, trauma, family dynamics, about healing and manhood. What is one message you want young men to hear about all of the above?
All those topics, choose to do them the healthy way, because that's gonna save your life. That's gonna give you the type of life that is that you want, that you'll be appreciative of, that'll be uh oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It'll be fruitful to you. Like all those different topics. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about them, but do your best to know what the healthy way looks like and desire that, strive for that. We was talking earlier about millionaires and them being money driven, but sometimes they won't always do it with ethics. You feel me? And because they obtain those things the way that they do, it ends up being that they not satisfied with it. Had they done it in an ethical way, or they done it in a way that was honoring to them, then they would feel different about it. So, young men, do things that honor you, that make you feel good about doing them. Don't do them out of necessity or do them out of, societal pressures. Uh, those won't serve you.
Very well put. Very well. I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate it, man. I wanted to say, I'm not little bro to nobody, but whenever it is that you say it to me, I'm accepting of it. You feel me? Like I proudly will be your little brother whenever it is that you call me that, bro. I want you to know. And man, I'm so grateful to this be my I guess, return to the camera, is
Yes.
being on with you. Those who don't know, Kwonton, that's my internet personality. I've had platforms I did as well. I'm on social media very sparingly now. And with it being Men's Mental Health Month and being able to be on here with you, Trey, I'm proud to tell you that my mental health is getting better.
Yes.
That's some of my hiatus. I just haven't been where I needed to be mentally, bro. That's really the bulk of it. But I'm definitely working on getting better. You know, um, just personally between things that me and you have spoken on. You
Yeah.
feel me? Like I said at the beginning of live, bro, I'm moving forward. You feel me? I'm moving forward, and I'm optimistic about my future, and that's just what it is.
Bruh. I love you, man.
Love you, bro.
I love you, bro. And I appreciate you. And much respected too to get the position to be able to say, "Well, bro, you know what I mean? That ain't no small
Yeah,
feat."
yeah,
Cause I understand.
yeah.
I'm big old. What you mean?
Right.
Man, this was a pleasure, a privilege, and a delight. This will not be the last time y'all see Mr. Kwonton. Follow him on Instagram at the Kwonton Soup. And I look forward to seeing more of you, hearing from you, and just thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. Feel me?
yeah.
Y'all give it up for my guest, Kwonton.
The love and gratitude is mutual, bro. I can't wait to see the other guests that you'll have. I'll definitely be tuning in. I don't want to miss an episode. You feel me? So if I can't catch it live, I definitely watch the replay. You feel me? Y'all gonna see me in the comments clowning. So
Yes. Love, bro. Well, you
love,
enjoy
bro.
the rest of your night, and
Yo,
I'll be talking to you, all right?
yo, peace.
Powerful. Powerful. Y'all go follow my mans on Instagram at the Quanton Soup. Link in the description. Yes, we will have more guests on. If you enjoyed this conversation, uh, two things I need you to do. First, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Tell the world about us. And it's Men's Mental Health Month. Let me know any topics that need to be talked about amongst the fellas. All right. Y'all do that. Enjoy the rest of y'all night. If you are a man, it's Men's Mental Health Month, you like to be a guest or you'd just like to talk to me, follow me on all the channels Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm here. It ain't nothing but a DM away, a comment, an email. All of that is available. Reach out. I promise I'll respond. Much love. And I'll be seeing y'all. Peace.